Well, I'd like to start our interview today on the Lost Heroes project by introducing Julie Feingold. And Julie, thank you for bringing everyone together today, you and Nancy. Can you tell us a little bit of history about the project and why you started this project and a little bit about how it came about?
I am a fine artist, and I wanted to start creating artwork that had meaning. And at the time, I had lost some people that were close to me, and so I was feeling this sense of loss and grief. And one of the first idea that I came up with was to, I guess because it was, the wars were going on, so I came up with this idea. I had sat down at my computer and I had looked at the names, this list of names of the fallen, and it just struck me that these people had risked their lives for me. Here I was living this comfortable life in a country that was secure and safe, and I had a good life. And these people had put their life on the line for me and others like me. So I wanted to do something for them and for their families. And that's how the idea started.
So did you have a design for the quilt already in mind when this started, or did it evolve?
Well, the basic design really did come to me. It was almost like a flash that the idea of the basic design of the center section of the quilt, it did just come to me like a gift, I guess. And as time went on and as I started connecting with the families, first I had, when I first contacted the Gold Star Mothers, American Gold Star Mothers, that's how I was able to connect with the families. And, there were so many people lost, I couldn't obviously put everyone on the quilt as much as I would have liked to. But I came up with the idea that if I had one person to represent each state and represent all of the fallen from that state, that would be a good way to start. And then when the families started volunteering to have their child on the quilt, it turned out that I was getting some duplicate families from the same state. Not duplicate families, but families from duplicate states. So that's how I came up with the idea to add a border, because I didn't want to turn any of the families away if I could help it. So I decided to create an additional border around the central design, and that's how I ended up with 32 more heroes on the quilt.
And then how did you hook up with our Gold Star mom, Nancy Hecker?
Well, that was a wonderful thing for me. I had been working alone on the project from September 2008 until around April 2009, collecting all the information and working on the design and developing it. And I mostly communicated by email with the families, and Nancy had me in an email, what do you plan to do with this quilt once you complete it? And I said, well, my dream is to have it be exhibited in all of the states across the country so that other people could come and remember the heroes. I said, but I really, at this point, creating the quilt itself, that I couldn't even begin to think of how that would ever happen. And then I realized that maybe I should ask Nancy if she wanted to help me with that aspect of the project.
So Nancy became your coordinator at this point, correct?
So yes, I was fortunate enough to get Nancy on board, and she really went gangbusters and is a wonderful networker and had a lot of contacts, and that's how the quilt ended up getting out there instead of staying in my home.
Well, that's terrific.